Hi everyone, welcome to the first devlog video of Hand Physics Lab. So I'm Dennis, I'm the developer of Hand Physics Lab and the co-founder of Holonautic, and I will try to go a little bit over the whole development process of Hand Physics Lab, which started in 2020. I will try to explain how it started, what were the motivation behind it, and all the challenges and everything I had to face to bring it to what it is today. So we will see all the little technical challenges, all the fun parts, and all the new features that will come in the future, and all the features that were in development. So you could see some of them will make it to the full game, some of them are still probably actively in development. So I really want to walk you a little bit through all those steps from 2020 up to now for the release, which will happen in 2 days. As you all know, hand tracking on the Oculus Quest was a quite recent feature. I think it was introduced in December 2019. And I was so blown away by what you could do with hand tracking that I really wanted to experiment with something with physical interaction, because at Holonautic we have been doing a lot of stuff with physics for increased immersion, with holoception, your ability to see yourself from different perspectives and really be able to interact with your environment. So trying to add that and see how it could actually be used with hand tracking was a really interesting challenge. So as you can see, this is how the game starts. You really see your hands. There is a very small lag you can notice between your real hands and what you actually see in the game, but it's really pleasing because you don't really feel that delay except if you really move fast, but it's barely noticeable and it's really satisfying what you can do in the game. So you can see here, the main difference between basic hand tracking is that it's not kinematic. You really have those virtual hands which are fully physics-based, and they try to map to where your real hands are. So you can see that's an invisible wall, and if I push my hands against it, you can see it resists. Like the hands really behave as you would expect in reality. Like, it was a challenge because the joints and the physics in a physics engine to make all that work in real time on a mobile device like the Quest was not an easy task to make it so stable and also performant. So yeah, the goal was to really have the finger to behave as realistic as possible. That's why also the wrist physics, the arm physics was added later on to make it even more realistic how the hands would interact if you push against a wall, or if you interact with object, or even if you interact with your two hands. One of the main challenges that was initially problematic was what happens if you get bad tracking, right? The hand will basically freak out and it will not know where it is, because it's all with the cameras. It's using inside-out tracking right for the cameras. So it was needed to add a very safe system that handles as soon as the hand is not tracked anymore. So if I put my hands out of the field of view and come back, it needs to be almost instant. So the hand tracking feature directly from Oculus, they did an awesome job to really try to keep it as precise as possible and try to immediately get back the information. But you can always have edge cases, right? If you really put one hand in front of the other, there is no way you can get the information of the hand poses. So a safety system was needed to really take care of that. So now you can see, if I really put one hand in front of the other, I added an interpolation system that tries to map the hand or guess where the hand should be without freaking out, without disappearing, because everything is physics-based. So it's very important that it doesn't glitch out, or it doesn't teleport from one point to another, or just disappear and you move and then it reappears, and then you would be able to cheat in the game, right? So that was one of the main aspects to prevent. Okay, so let's maybe now have a look at, of course, one of the core features of Hand Physics Lab, being able to interact with your hand with physics-based object. So this is the very simple case of being able to grab a cube with your fingers and see how it would react, right? Because there is nothing in your hand, no haptics, no controllers, nothing. You have no information about something that could touch your hand. It's only visual, and it's only the direct information that the camera will track on your hand. So the very surprising thing that nobody would expect, but after the first prototype, I could see that when you actually press a cube or interact with anything which is physics-based, even though you have no haptics feedback on your fingers, your brain, by just seeing that the finger are basically being pushed back or resisting when you interact with an object, it surprisingly recreates the sensation of haptics. It really, it's related in some way to the ghost lamps that some people have as an issue, that it really recreates you by just seeing what you do and that you touch the cube. It really recreates that sensation of touching. Of course, not as realistically as if you would have full haptics, but because your brain needs to complete the information which it doesn't have, it's very interesting to see and how it feels when you do that by just using hand tracking and physics in a game. And it's very interesting that at the beginning maybe it's very confusing, but with practice you will really see it's very intuitive how you can interact with those objects, with those physics-based fingers, which just fully or tries to map to what the hand tracking information will give to them. And you can, I didn't manage to juggle up to now, so if someone managed ever to really juggle in real time with 3 cubes, please share the video and tell us so we can highlight that video, because it would be a very interesting challenge. But up to now, yeah, you can really fastly interact with cubes, build towers, and it's very intuitive, and it took many iterations over almost over a year to reach to that level of precision and interactability, and that it feels secure and safe, and it doesn't glitch out, or if something bad happens, the hands don't freak out. But that's basically the goal of Hand Physics Lab, is really to make that experience as pleasant as possible, that you can have those physics-based interaction. Very intuitive, very simple, that everybody could just jump in and really enjoy VR with just hand tracking and have a pleasant experience, which is very simple, that you don't need to learn buttons, you don't need to learn controls, you can just jump in and interact with basic objects. So yeah, that's it for the first video. Thank you for attending, and see you in the next Devlog video. Me trying to juggle.